This is Philip DeFranco. Might as well start with the guy that's on the screen. Um, we're about to cover a video from the Quartering, who I brought up early in an earlier video today. And he is a video game journalist, and he has an entire channel called Exclusively Games, where he talks about games and stuff. But, well, we've talked about Google and the Project Veritas video on this channel already, and this is somewhat of a follow-up to that. See, Philip DeFranco here is by far, I think, one of the, if not the largest, one of the largest commentary channels on this entire platform, and he's definitely one of the first. He's a pioneer in many ways and deserves a ton of respect when it comes to, marketing and growing his brand to whereas now he really is a trusted name in online internet commentary and news information gathering, I guess. But I stopped paying attention to Philly D after the BetterHelp fiasco. If you're unfamiliar, BetterHelp was this service for mental health that a ton of YouTubers had gotten sponsored by, but there was a lot of, I guess, muddy waters when it comes to the company itself. And it's one of those things that he was like, yeah, I'm so sorry about. And it was probably like a week or two later, and I realized he said he was going to go to their to their offices and make sure everything was on the up and up, and that trip didn't happen. I mean, I don't know if it's happened since. I just kind of was like, I'm good. And then the Covington kids thing happened. If you're not familiar with that situation, it was the one with the Indian beating the drum and the kid in the smirking kid's face, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, this child, how could you, how dare you? And that's one of the reasons I actually eventually came around to making this channel, was because I was doing another channel. I had another channel where I did discuss this, but I would be talking about things a week late, and I didn't particularly care for that. So that's really why I personally just don't really mess with Philip DeFranco no more. I'm okay. Things are, values have been shifting, and his bias and his perspective is one that, I feel like I've grown past. So when it comes to the Project Veritas stuff, he apparently hadn't said anything about it for a while, up until Friday, just past Friday. And we're talking about the Google email leaks. We're talking about basically everything that's taken place since Adpocalypse, the overall censorship that's really been going on via Google, YouTube, Facebook, and what we learned primarily was that they've been doing their best to make sure that Trump doesn't get reelected, and the person that they want to wins the 2020 election. Which I know a lot of people who will be like, oh, well, we definitely can't have Trump. We definitely can't have Trump. It's like, whoa, okay, all right, cool then, but you're no longer a platform, you're a publisher, and new laws apply. So, Quartering is calling Phil DeFranco out on his position that he takes. So we're gonna get into their video, into his video, where he gets into Phil DeFranco's video, and let's just get into this.
Are held to the same standard. Also, regarding this, when we spoke with a YouTube representative this morning, they said that the company, whether it be Google or YouTube, they have a very open culture. With that, there are a great number of people and a great number of groups where people are sharing very strong opinions on everything from pets to politics. And so essentially saying they want their employees to feel comfortable sharing their opinions, but also at the same time claiming that the email that was leaked was not from...
Really quickly, just a quick TLDR. We're at the point in the in his video where Phil just went over, is explaining how Google, the claims that conservative employees at Google do not feel safe speaking up because there is such a bias against conservatism and the Republicans and the red team because of the butthurt due to the 2016 presidential election. And they've been getting taken to task on this all week. I'll draw back to the Dan Crenshaw video that I did
YouTube employee, and also saying that that person does not speak on behalf of the company and that it is not an official company position. Although, and this is my personal opinion here, just to create some separation, I will say this part probably concerns me the most. Just to provide one example, I have a number of disagreements when it comes to the likes of Ben Shapiro, and I find it concerning that allegedly, according to this email, there are people equating him to Nazis. An argument and a person saying it, I think, creating a scary situation. Obviously, as of right now,
yeah, called hyperbole. I mean, Ben Shapiro is Jewish. And he's not the first. I mean, and he's not the only one as well. You got PragerU, you got Steven Crowder. I mean, this leak, this email leak from Google shows like the clearest of bias and the false equivalency of these biases to the greatest evil the world's ever known, quote unquote.
Now, this is just kind of one person, a snippet of an email where we don't see anything else. But still there, I see there to be a reason for concern. Also, regarding this story, we've seen political reaction. On Tuesday, the U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation had a hearing. And at that hearing, Maggie Stanfield, the director of Google User Experience...
Yeah, got roasted by Ted Cruz.
No, sir, I don't think that is Google's job, and we build for everyone, including...
From Google
and Facebook and all that, which perhaps we would.
He's skipping through it, but once again, you saw Dan Crenshaw right there. This is just the stuff that has been taking place over the last week, and now Phillip DeFranco is doing a quick catch-up on it as well, because he didn't say anything, because he's kind of YouTube's golden boy. I mean, YouTube... Google, they have golden children, and he's amongst them.
Okay. Also claiming that Google was trying to rig the 2020 election. But ultimately, that's where we're going to end with this story today. There's still stuff coming out.
So he doesn't have a take.
As I'm finishing this video, I think they did another release. And ultimately, what I would say, as far as my personal takeaway, given the allegations that the video of the Googler who didn't know they were being filmed was selectively edited, it seems like the easy way to combat that would be to release the full video. Unless they release the video, I think a fair assessment of it is impossible. You know, I make a daily show. When you're trying to put out a piece, so, you know, sometimes you just make cuts to get to the main points. But given the criticisms and allegations that aren't limited to one event, that
one take.
This group is selectively and deceptively editing videos, it seems like the easy way to fight that is to just release the full bit. And at that point, I would feel way more comfortable at the point that it appears that it's trying to
I need to point this out, though, okay? Now, wait a minute, Phil. I need to point this out. You don't necessarily need the full 2-hour unedited film to take... The problem is, this will be a weasel out. Now, Veritas should just release it. I agree with that. But you have her in 3 or 4 situations rephrasing the exact same thing. So it's not like there was just this one off-the-cuff comment. It was the same...
Hate to cut you off there, but where they're going to release it to when Google themselves took the piece down, and then was it Dailymotion, Vimeo took down Project Veritas's work as well. I mean, I guess they could release it on BitChute, sure, but I'm not sure if the results wouldn't be the same. I mean, Google is simultaneously saying how they want, you know, fair to everybody, but at the same time, they're doing what they can to kind of scrub it.
Same comment rephrased 3 or 4 different times. Then you can take that same comment, let's say you can only apply, you can use, what I do is I apply essentially a weighted trust average, right? So when they...
35%, right? I mean, I usually just attribute it to hot chicks and how much leeway I'm going to give them. But see, this is a pretty popular way of thinking, you know? Hey, average it out. Fractions. They're your friend.
Had the dude on screen who was like shaded out and his voice augmented, and he was saying some things. I applied only a 10 or 15% trust variable to that. I'm just giving an example, right? Because I don't even know if that's a Google employee. I don't know who it is. It could be an actor. All these things, right? Is it an ex-employee looking to grind an axe? I don't know. Now, when I have a video of an employee saying something, okay, now maybe I apply a 40 to 60% trust equation.
I'm thinking 80, 85. I think he's being a little modest.
Trust score to that. Okay? And I'm curious if, by the way, you know, once the full video is out there and my in-ear reporters are telling me that it is out there. I haven't verified that yet. But what else do you need? We have internal emails. We have the clips from Veritas. We have the blacked out ex-Google employee. We have the documents where you have literal how to protest the president. What else do you need? It's like saying, oh, all right, let's just...
Otherwise, I'm incredibly skeptical of video that the context is given to me. It is obviously edited, because at times when done by someone that is trying to push a narrative, you can mislead a lot of people. I've been burned in the past. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what else.
You're about to get burned today, homie. Because I'm going to release this video around 10 a.m. Central on Friday. And
I can't help but he was specifically talking about Covington there, Jeremy. I'm just saying, I can't help but feel like he was specifically... Look at his face. Look at Philly D's face, huh? You just think about, man, that Covington shit really fucked me, bro.
Feeling everyone that's watching it is going to come back and be sharing it on their social media as well.
Out if it's confirmed or denied, what is where things are coming from, because of course the liberal and conservative voices should not be surprised. Yeah, that's where we're going to end what feels like an incredibly large show. We'll see. Of course, with this one and anything else I talk about.
So nothing. So Phillip DeFranco had no take whatsoever, and all he did was poison the well and try to provide, in my opinion, all DeFranco did was try to poison the well and plant seeds of doubt along with each individual piece of evidence. Now, I agree that the full video should be viewed and it should be available. If it's out there, people should watch it. If it isn't out there, Veritas should release it. But I'm questioning why you would even need that, given we see all of this other evidence. We see all of the evidence that we don't need internal emails to know. When I look at people's traffic, when I look at what YouTube did to, like, Sargon, or when I look at what YouTube does in terms of Steven Crowder, okay? It's obvious. I don't need the internal emails. Some people do. We even have those. So, Phil, why you always lying, dog? You look so bad. This video was worse than anything I can imagine, and I cannot believe that there's only 800 dislikes. Did nobody notice that you were logged into your own Google account? I just did it real time and validated Veritas's report.
At that point, he's talking about earlier in the video where Philip DeFranco went and did a search, but because he's signed in as Philip DeFranco, it's going to show, something that they would want Philip DeFranco to see. And what Jeremy, the quartering here, was doing was saying you go incognito. And it's a little bit deep, because deal is that people really are that dense, Jeremy. I mean, critical thinking has been destroyed in the West, okay? How many times? I don't know your audience, Jeremy, but how many times would you run across somebody that's just like to say, it ain't that deep? It ain't that deep. No, it's like, no, it's not that it ain't that deep. It's just that you're not that deep. And really, when you have the schools that we have here, I mean, what do you expect? When our schools are sitting there, I recently did a video where the principal was a principal of a school was too focused on academics. I shit you not. So, yeah, I mean, we've painted ourselves in a very terrible situation as far as America and Western society goes, because we've had so many cooks in so many kitchens, and a lot of them can burn water, man. A lot of them can burn water. Let's see. There's not much left to Jeremy's video. It's like another 3 seconds. I don't want to leave him like that. There you go. No.
Totally disappointed.
I think that's better. Okay, because, I mean, we get it, Jeremy. You're pissed. You're really taking them to task on this, and that's probably what the title of this video is going to be. I just definitely wanted to toss in my 2 cents. And, my 50 or so subs get an opportunity to, stay on top of what's happening with this platform. And as far as the bigger names on the platform, because your names are definitely going in the title of this one. It's the YouTube game, baby. This is how we roll. All right. Plus, these videos tend to do better for me. The ones where I kind of just ape somebody's content and comment over it. So, I mean, not to be a jerk, I respect the hell out of Jeremy, and I respect the hell out of Philly D too. Just on this one, I see where he can definitely want to muddy the waters because YouTube's golden child, you know, minus the Eddie Murphy. So, with that being said, we're gonna bring this video to an end. All the internet stuff, like it if you liked it, or dislike it, not scared of you. Sub, because I have a fantastic voice. Share, because sharing is caring. And speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? I mean, Google is definitely the villain in this situation here. Okay? They've definitely gone out of their way to knock off people that they don't agree with, which would be fine if they didn't have the protections of a platform, or definitely if they was their guidelines were placed more properly in the TOS, right? I mean, so if that, I mean, right? I think that's a good question to land this video on. So until the next one,